The two of you approached Rishmeet's group in a threatening manner. His friends were able to escape, but Rishmeet ran off on his own, and when he tripped over, the CCTV showed that the two of you ferociously attacked him, each of you stabbing him repeatedly with those lethal knives. You, Mr. Balakrishnan, made 5 separate stabbing movements. You, Mr. Suleiman, a further 10. As Rishmeet lay dying in a doorway, you headed off, collected the bikes and rode back to number 68. There you changed your clothes and went to your respective homes by taxi. You both went back to number 68 the following day and arranged for the bikes and your blood-stained clothing to be disposed of. At the scene where Rishmeet was to die, the emergency services had been called at 7 minutes past 9. He had suffered multiple sharp force injuries to his head and chest, and penetrating injuries to his brain, liver and lung. There were through and through injuries to his arm, which were consistent with defensive injuries as he held his arms up to try to protect himself. There were at least 11 and up to 15 separate stab wounds. Despite the efforts of the medics, his injuries were not survivable, and he died at the scene. The very same night, you, Mr. Balakrishnan, having taken your blood-stained knife back to your bedroom, photographed it and posted a photograph on social media. You then wrote drill lyrics glorifying the killing, which included lines such as, "One tripped and fell, and he knew it was over. I was swinging my shank, swinging my blade back and forth, trying to turn him off. He tripped and got dipped onto my shank. Chasing him with a nank, really trying to open his chest apart, trying to push my knife through his lungs." Those chilling lyrics were found in the very notebook in which you had recorded the lessons you'd learned about the dangers of knife crime as part of your referral order. The sentences I pass upon you are as follows. Manushan Balakrishnan, for the murder, detention at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 24 years. For the Section 18, detention at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 4 years. That's 2/3 of the notional determinate term. You have spent 524 days in detention on remand, which will count towards your sentence. So the minimum term is 24 years less 524 days. Ilyas Suleiman, the sentence I pass upon you for the murder is detention at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 21 years. You have spent 517 days in detention on remand, which will count towards your sentence. And so the minimum term is 21 years less 517 days. If the information which I've been provided with as to days in detention on remand proves to be inaccurate, then the prosecution or defence must notify the court so that the case can be relisted to correct the calculation as soon as possible, and in any event within 56 days of today. You must both understand, and all those who are listening must understand, that you will not be released when you have served those minimum terms. Indeed, you will only be released if and when the parole board conclude that either or both of you no longer pose a risk of harm to the public, and that will not be until you have served at least every day of the minimum terms which I have just imposed.
Chris Preddie scenarios.
How we doing, guys? Myself, Chris Preddie, OBE, hitting you with a quick one. Real talk, true season. Don't worry, I'll wait. And this is a Chris Preddie scenario right now, and I think every teacher, every parent should be showing their kids this video. Don't worry, I'll wait. I want to ask everybody a question now, even down to you parents. Where's your child right now? Do you know where your child is right now? I saw a young person yesterday, 8 o'clock at night. He still had his school uniform on, walking down the road. I said, where's your mama, papa? Why are you not at home? I had to pull him over. I said, big man, where are you going? What's going on? Oh, no, I don't have to be at home. Go home. Why are you walking around on the street? This is when things start to happen. This is when your kid's going to get G-checked. This is when your kid's going to get groomed. This is when your kid's going to get out to trouble. And before you know it, they're going to be sitting in the courthouse getting 25 to life. And some of you kids think it's all cool. Nah, sir, man's just trying to find a motive. Man, don't like them man over there. They're the ops, sir. Man's going to catch myself a body. Yeah, catch yourself a body and you be sitting down with a body. Yeah? In another cell with a next man squeezing out doo-doo. But man, them don't want to break down the maths and science. And you don't want to break down the maths and science. When you actually go into prison, you're losing your 18th birthday. Yeah? 20th birthday, 21st birthday. Yeah? Driving, forget about it. Yeah? Peds, forget about it. Yeah? Going out raving, leave it. Yeah? Holiday, don't follow. You're not going holiday. You're not going Miami. You're not going Ibiza. And you're all doing this because you're repping a block. But how much man do you rate right now that's still on the block? Tell me a rapper, tell me a bad man that you know right now that's still on the block. No, man, them are trying to get out of the block. So I don't understand why these young kids are so impressionable about the area that they come from. But it makes me start thinking about the parenting. What are we doing with our parenting? We're sitting there saying, oh, these kids, man, it's much more worse now. And these kids don't listen and all the rest of it. But how much have we helped them in the stages of life? How much have we helped our children with the stages of life? We're not helping them. And none of these kids understand the real repercussions of their actions. And that's why it's so important that we need to start putting videos out like this. This is why it's important to sit down and break down scenarios with your child so you can figure out who your child is. Come up to your child and say, James, come here for a second. If someone beat up your friend, what would you do? What, man? I'll be on it. You get me? I'll back it. Then you start realizing, whoa, maybe my child is that child. You might speak to your child and say, what would you do? You get me? If someone had a knife and all the rest of it. Oh, I'll come back with a knife in it and I'll stab him. Wow, okay. You're in that kind of mentality. What if your child's sitting there saying, do you know what, mum? I didn't even know, bruv. I was just walking with my friend and I got mixed up into something that I was unaware of. So that's the in denial ones. What about that child that's sitting there and he's saying to his friend, don't do it, but my mum used to always tell me, you are the company that you keep. So once again, if you don't know who your child is, you should be sitting them down and breaking down these kind of scenarios so you can actually help them and if not better, grow them into things where they don't have to receive a 25 to life or if not being killed.